Hello, I'm Julia Barminova. I'm watercolor artist. Mostly I paint the sea, and I find my inspiration by trips to different fishing villages or port cities around the world. And all my watercolors, it's about water, how it's beautiful, or about boats, sailing, swimming, fishing, and all this beautiful atmosphere that you can find in these places. Since 2016 I'm Royal Talens ambassador, and I was involved in the development of new color range, and after this time I really enjoy how many colors now we have in Van Gogh and Rembrandt, and how many of them monopigment, and how it really helps me to create my own reality on the paper. So, and today I'm going to show you one of my watercolor about the sea. I will use Rembrandt colors, also some Royal Talens brushes, cotton paper, and I hope you will like it. Okay, we are going to start with materials. My paper, it's 100% cotton paper by Rembrandt, 300 grams, and my format will be something about 20 and 30 centimeters, like this. You can create, maybe your own size, maybe a little bit more or less, it's not important. Always I use colors in tubes and almost never by pens, because my technique, I use very strong color with a lot of pigment inside, and usually I paint in one layer, and you will see it today. And when you use pen, it's sometimes too hard and less strong, and it's more for some technique in watercolor when you use few layers on the paper, like one, second, another. So, and my style, I like more tubes. So, and today we need just 5 colors. First one, it's one of my favorite. It's a new Rembrandt range, improved cadmium orange. Also, you can use any metallic or plastic palette. Cobalt, it's a classic one. Cobalt blue. Phthalo blue. Rembrandt has 2 phthalo blue colors. One of them red shade, and another one it's green shade. So I like more red shade. Amazing color for the sea and waves and sky. Another one it's indent blue, very strong, almost like a dark blue, indent blue. All of them monopigment, and phthalo blue, phthalo green. Okay, maybe also we have maybe a little bit in the end. I'm going to use for little details natural tint. It's a dark one, like black color. Also can be something black or gray, or maybe Payne's gray or indigo or another one. And in the end, also for some maybe little birds or lines on the board, I will use a little bit white. Opaque white, it's also one of the new Rembrandt color. So, my brushes. My brushes will be Rembrandt Petit Gris, a very soft one, and this brush can absorb a lot of water with pigment and I can create very liquid color on my paper by this. And another one, it's one of them Amsterdam. It's a synthetic one, Van Gogh, and this one for details also. I think maybe we'll be okay with just two of them. Water. Also we need some napkins, pencil. So my story today from Miami, and it was very rainy day there. I had some of my travel, and but I will change mood, and I will change light a little bit for show more how it can be brightful and colorful with these colors. Exactly. So we have boat, sailboat. We can start with big parts. So I paint in first step just big parts like board, these things, another board, reflection full, and we will not do some backstage there and another boards. Now it will be more clean, and almost never I use a background for colors or for watercolors, because I like to make a focus point in this place, like board, reflection. Also we can add some seagulls somewhere for create also sea atmosphere more. I will add some details. Here is all of this little, I don't know, sailing stuff you can paint after just with brush, and you don't need to make your work in two steps. Just now everything by pencil, and after everything, every details by brush. It's not necessary. So it can be just big general parts by pencil, and after we can add everything by brush in the end. Maybe with gray color or white color. So okay, main cell. Usually this part, this line between reflection and water, it's very tricky, and also it's, if you will see a real sea and this place in reality, it's changing every part of second. It's very fast, like always moving, and this line can be also here or here, and because of this reason I never make exactly same copy of my picture, and always this line is some kind of improvisation, so it can be more, or here less, or more details, or not exactly the same like picture, and never I make a strong copy of the photo. It's not necessary. So just some part important if you will save color tone of this place, and also size. So I can't make this smaller or bigger. It's so I pay attention of the size and color tone by after already by watercolor. So somewhere here, and I want to draw some way of shadows of my water. So this part will be light, and this will be shadow. Also again light, here will be shadow, and something like this. Shadows, this also will be light, shadows. Okay, my pencil drawing ready. So when we can start with colors. My first mix will be part of the top of my painting. It will be like, it's not sky exactly, it's like background of the sea, but without this line on the horizon and another boats and harbor. So I mix cadmium orange, soft brush, peachy greens, cobalt. This mix I use a lot, very often. And you have to put a lot of water inside this wash. And with my another brush, this is synthetic by Van Gogh, I will use more strong and thick consistent of my colors. And here will be indantine blue, dark one, and phthalo green. It will be more for this part, because the sea, when it's closer to viewer, it's more darker. Also phthalo blue here, and a little bit of cadmium orange. So for down part this color, and for the top I will start with something like that, maybe more cobalt, like this one. Okay, and you can see here it's two different type of consistent of watercolor solutions, like very dry and very liquid. So it's like two types of technique that we can use, dry on dry now, because it's dry paper, and this brush is almost dry and pigment is very strong. And this one, it's wet on dry. So my paper is wet, my paper is dry, and my colors are wet. And after, when we will paint the water, I will use dry on wet. So after my first wash, the paper will be wet, and with dry brush, it will be dry on wet, like this. Okay, water first. So there are four ways to use watercolor technique, as I said before. Wet on wet, wet on dry, dry on wet, and dry on wet, dry on dry, and dry on wet. And I use all of them. And it was some kind of condition for myself many time ago, when I started to paint with watercolor, because I could not stop in correct time, and always was like when I use layers on layers, and now I try to paint just everything, almost everything in one time, in one layer, like create this beautiful granulation that cobalt, for example, or some like colors like oxide black can give you. So, and now we have to preserve our light and white part on the board, but we can, because this part will be darker in gray, can put color also here. So, and we are going to save just top of our board. This is also something like you don't need to be careful and make very, like, can be more free and fresh and fast with some splashes or dry parts and white parts like this. It can be nice composition in the end. So I like this. And I can change shade of my color. For example, in some part can be more cobalt. This is one. So, and for me, in this case, when I use one layer, for me watercolor looks as pure and fresh and beautiful as possible. So it's always clean and beautiful mix of colors. And for me, it's because of two reasons. First one, because it's here is one layer, and second one, because I use monopigment and my choice of colors like this. So now I will make this part darker. Like this. Now I change brushes for synthetic one. Phthalo green in my mix now, phthalo green, indent blue, a little bit of cadmium orange and phthalo blue. And it's a bit more turquoise. Okay, like this dry part of the paper, and I will create a little bit of shadows of the waves here. So and now we use dry on wet. So our paper after first wash is wet, and with dry brush we use it's not exactly reflection, it's just shades and shadows of waves. So you don't need to put color on the reflection because it will be second layer after. Put something just soft and without strong borders, like just waves. When you use professional colors, you expect high level of pigmentation, and Rembrandt really good for this. Because in my technique I really need intense colors, and it's always very nice result, so I can be sure that it will be strong or gentle or soft, like I want. So now our water is almost ready, will be a reflection. We have to wait a little when this part will be dry, but now I can work with a little details on the board, maybe these shades, just for weight. A bit. So I will clean my palette a little, because we need different colors, almost same mix, but more gray, more warm. And then they are going to be mix of cadmium orange and cobalt. It's very nice color together, and you can change like more cold one, more cobalt, or warmer with more cadmium. I think something like that. It's a color of shadow of white, because our board is white, and so can change a little bit shade, like put more orange. For getting more interesting effect. These shades on the white parts on the board. I left some white, little white dots, just for make it more complicated for a little bit, because always on the board you can find a lot of stuff, like little lines, something, and person that will see your watercolor sometimes think, oh, what is it? But looks tricky, so it's okay. We can start working on the top. Also with some gray. They have streak detail like this. It's also always nice to paint some parts darker, like almost black, and some parts with another color tone. So here I use almost white and gray, and also for make it's interesting, I can use napkin. Just for make some illusions of texture, of details. And also on the subject like that, like architecture or buildings or boats or I don't know, bicycles, you can put some random dots like here, here. Will be nice because it will be good contrast between some geometric form and okay. For main sail I will use phthalo green together with Indonesian blue. Will be very strong turquoise color, like this one. And it's always beautiful when you paint one subject together with another, and you don't need to wait when this part will be dry for start with another one. And these colors will mix with each other, and it will be very nice effect that almost just one watercolor can give you, like this one here. It's very nice. Now I change shade, but also I don't wait for this part to dry, and I continue. It's nice mix. So all details and all parts of, if it's one subject or different one, you can paint like something general. So you don't need to wait. It will be beautiful. Okay, what after this can be door inside. So some lines. Here for these little details I use different types of gray color. So sometimes it's more with orange and maybe with natural tint, like more like warmer, something warmer. And now I change for cool shade with cobalt blue, also can be with Tala. Okay, now when our paper here is dry, we can start with this part of boats and reflection at the same time, and this one, of course. We can start with this. Maybe will be more comfortable because it's smaller. So also something warm, cobalt cadmium, like this. And in same time, for safe, beautiful connection between subjects, it's very important in watercolor. I continue on board, and after reflection. Here we have very beautiful effects that we can't create alone, so it's also work of technique, of watercolor, of water, of paper. It's a beautiful one. It's why also I like this technique. And it's interesting because you can paint, I don't know, this part like 5 times, and always you will have some new result and new composition, and you can't expect the same result always. So it's a nice part of these materials. Okay, can add some bird here. It's my fantasy. It's not on the picture, but can make more alive. Like this. Okay, and the same we have to do here. I will use Petit blue, cobalt blue, some gray mix, cadmium orange. Cobalt blue is also color with a very nice granulation. You can see here. And This part between board and reflection has strongest contrast on our painting. So, and here first I make just reflection in general, a big part. And after I have this brush, I have to back with a very strong and dark color, like almost pure indantine blue. But it's should be on wet paper, so you have to be fast. Because you can lose this natural Okay, it's old board, so it can be some details like this one, and this with also dark color. It's shadows or shadows of the waves, exactly the same like we painted on the first layer. So, and a little bit more details around, like this one. It's always also improvisation, because if you will see, in reality it's changing every second. So here also I use some random dots for make composition more interesting, like this. And the most important part should be correct tone of our shades. So if, for example, we will lose white part on the top of the board, we will lose some volume, and here also reflection should be really dark, really strong. This line also here. more details like this, I will change position. If you have problem with this streak lines, you can use some help, like with a sheet of paper, like this one, but not exactly use brush like this, but it can help just with direction. Sometimes I use it because can be pressure if you you finish your painting, and now in the end you have to put this line without mistakes, and for help me I use something like little paper or something else. So it's enough. Okay, what did we miss? Maybe this line, but now it's a little bit early. I have to wait maybe 2 to 5 minutes more because it's too wet. Lines some here. Okay. Can be some splashes like okay. A bit of seagulls, birds. So it's a good trick. I always, if I paint something and it's too, I don't know, to have just one tone, I always make something like this. Or you can put water a little bit or dark color for make it a bit different. It's bought for fishing always, and it's some fishermen would something for them, and the seagulls really like it. So now last part, it's a little bit bright highlights and little details with white. I use it direct from tube, never put on my palette. This is opaque white. This color was created exactly for watercolor artists, exactly like you can also mix it with something, but I like to use pure for details, and also it's very nice for black paper. So we have Rembrandt and Van Gogh black paper, and new colors like chameleons and interference colors, and also if you will mix some of them or regular colors with this opaque white, with this color you can paint on black, because it's very very opaque. So I like effect like dry on dry for some textures. So always not too much. Oh, I miss one detail here. Missed. The name of this board is Magic. Nice. You can also write here, maybe not. Okay, so I think this is finish. It's always good to stop in correct moment. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and you can share your result with us. And today I showed you how to use Rembrandt watercolors in tube, and how you can create some watercolor about the sea, or it can be also cityscapes or some flowers in one layer on the paper. So I hope you like it, and see you.